Welcome back, everybody, to the Marble Invites with here Event 4, Block Pushing. Now, of course, we all know block pushing. If there was ever a strength event in marble sports, this is it. The teams will go down the ramp and try to push the block as far as they can, and they will have 2 attempts to do it. In the last event, the Eggs, with that gold medal, took the lead.
5 points back of the Volcanoes, 1 point back further with the Blood Moon, so it is a very close championship battle after just 3 events. This event marks the halfway point of the season, and Storm Chasers and Volcanoes are going to lead us off. 2 runs in each lane, but that's one at a time. Let's see how it goes. Volcanoes, a big start. Storm Chasers really struggle out of the gate.
Yeah, it was very slow. In fact, they almost didn't move for a few fractions of a second there, and they did make up the ground a little bit, but you have to think that's probably what caused their loss in this round.
The Volcanoes, good start, 47.70 and a 44.00, so that's the kind of the range we're looking for here, between mid-40s to high 40s, and the Volcanoes have the early lead. Jade Jockeys and Silver Lychees now going to try and beat that.
As the gate will get released here now, and they go down, and the Jade Jockeys fall out of their lane, or one of them falls out of their lane, and that equates to a very even push. Of course, that is not an invalid run, but that will have halted their momentum a little bit.
Yeah, Silver Lychees looked a lot better there. They kept themselves in the lane, and compared to the first run, they've taken the lead by a very small margin, may I add. The Silver Lychees take a very close lead over the Volcanoes as we move on to the next group, Team Clarity and the Marine team.
Yeah, 2 very blue, or somewhat blue marbles, and the Marine team completely miss the block. Or not miss it, just completely throw it to the side.
That is, quite frankly, disastrous from the Marine team. They could have had a great run, they just got too disjointed coming down the ramp, and meanwhile, no one's paid attention, but Team Clarity have taken the lead, our first 48 cracker of the day, and Team Clarity have, quite frankly, outmastered that goose egg by Marine team by a good margin.
Here we go with the Valiant Vanillas and the Knights of Night, and look at that push from the Knights of Night. Meanwhile, the Valiant Vanillas are gone.
Oh dear. Oh dear, Valiant Vanillas are completely just almost out of the stadium. They went so fast. Another goose egg, but a 61.10. We were just talking about cracking 48. They cracked a 60. That is outstanding by the Knights of Night.
And that, I should think, would probably be a guaranteed podium by the end, but we will have yet to see what the other teams will do, such as the Blood Moons and the Storm Chasers here. Deep Divers, sorry. The Deep Divers, my bad. Of course, they have been having a terrible season so far, and this is not looking amazing. 6th. Meanwhile, the Blood Moons onto provisional podium.
Very close to that 60 mark were the Blood Moons, and now is the Salmons and the Eggs. 2 teams who are up there. They've both won gold so far. Can they make it a second? It looks... Well, the Knights of Night, they didn't quite, no one outshines that so far, but the Eggs got the better run here, and it's looking like a solid run from honestly both teams, but the Eggs do outshine, and it's a 3rd place over the 4th place Salmons.
Yes, the breakfast rivalry goes to the Eggs this time, as we get to the Surging Storms and the Crimson Company, as we get to the end of the first half here, and it will be the Crimson Company going further than the host team. Of course, the fans of the Surging Storm out in force, but not very happy with their performance so far.
It's another 3rd place contender. Crimson Company vault up into the podium spots for now. Surging Storms down there in 10th, and we've only got 1 run of this first half to go between Wishful Spheroids and the Stargazers. Down they come, and it's going to be the better push for the Wishful Spheroids, but both teams do pretty well.
Yeah, I should think that would be top 5 for both of them. Great pushes for both. But the Wishful Spheroids just a little bit further, and it will be 3rd provisionally for the Spheroids. 53.7 to a 51. Both of them over 50.
That's a good mark to get. Getting over 50 seems like the top half cutoff, maybe even the top 6 or 7 cutoff, the double-digit points. But that is the first half done. Knights of Night lead the way, and the Blood Moons, those 2 well ahead of the rest, with Wishful Spheroids, Crimson Company, and a few others have managed to crack 50, getting them up there. But saving energy for the second round, perhaps, are those like the Deep Divers who didn't do too well in the first round. We'll see how it goes here as we've swapped lanes with Volcanoes and Storm Chasers.
Yes, of course, we had 2 goose eggs in that first round, so both of those teams are going to want to improve. And here, the Storm Chasers have a bit of a horrid push. I don't think that'll be an improvement from them, so they're going to have to hope their first push was good enough. But no, 14th. Meanwhile, the Volcanoes, I believe, improved to a 6th. So that should be okay for them.
Alright, Silver Lychees and Jade Jockeys. Jade Jockeys need an improvement. Silver Lychees also weren't great, and the Jade Jockeys will not get an improvement. That was honestly probably worse in their first round where they lost the marble. Silver Lychees, meanwhile, solid push. Should be an improvement, but we'll have to see where it puts them overall.
Of course, that was a slow start for the J-Jockeys. You saw that. The Silver Lychees stormed out of the gate. And you got to think if maybe that's what caused the J-Jockeys to not have a great performance there. Then again, both of them out of the top half.
So 10th and 13th, not the best from most in our Marine team. All eyes on them. They got a goose egg in the first round. They got to really get a good push here. And they pushed one out of the lane. So Marine team have gone ahead and pretty much ruined this event as best as they could. But Team Clarity, a solid push in the first round, complements another very good push here.
Yeah, you got to think if the pushes were totaled for both of them, Team Clarity would be doing very well here. But it will be an improvement, just missing out of the podium, Team Clarity. Meanwhile, Marine team, this is looking like a bit of a disaster.
And Team Clarity vault up into 4th place. Team Clarity, well, Team Clarity 12th place. Marine team stumbled down a bit. Now we've got Knights of Night, the fantastic runners from the first round of Valiant Vanillas who need a good run. Knights of Night have done an invalid push. They've said, oh, we should be good enough here to get onto a podium. Let's just rack this one off and call it a day.
They did exactly what the Valiant Vanillas did in their first run. Both of these teams seem to be hitting those blocks too fast and not being able to keep it in the lane. Luckily for the Knights of Night, their first push will still be provisional gold.
Still the only push over 60. Can Deep Divers or Blood Moons try and get up toward that 60 push and perhaps dethrone the Knights of Night? It looks very close from the Blood Moons, but also a good push from Deep Divers, but that Blood Moons push was just extraordinary.
Will that be close to the gold? It will be very close, but no! By less than 1/10 of a centimeter. But they will be taking second, and I don't think they will be mad about that at all.
Only 2 teams to vault over 60, Blood Moons and Knights of Night. Looking good to hold top 2 here. Eggs and Salmons in that breakfast rivalry as previously mentioned, and the Salmons get the win this time, and it looks like a pretty strong push. It might be an improvement over their first round. It should be good enough for a top half, I would say at least.
Yes, I believe the Salmons improved on that run. I'm not sure about the Eggs. Maybe. But the Salmons should definitely have the position here. 3rd for the Salmons. They are on provisional podium. The Eggs might not even finish in the top half here, depending on how the rest of the runs go.
Just got 4 more teams to see here, concluding our home team, Surging Storms on the bottom lane and Crimson Company on the top. Crimson Company had a good opener, and I'd say it's worse than their first round, but they still beat the Surging Storms in this one. And both of these teams are not going to challenge for a podium, I would say. Not at all.
Yes, that was not good pushes from either of them. Luckily for the Crimson Company, their first push will be enough for a top half, currently 6th, so they can fall no lower than 8th.
With just 1 run to go, I believe it is the Stargazers, and they're Stargazers and the Wishful Spheroids trying to contend for a podium in the last blast effort of the day, and it's a great push from the Wishful Spheroids, also solid from Stargazers, but where does that put them overall? Do Wishful Spheroids contend for a top 5 or possibly even a podium?
It's not going to be 1st or 2nd, we know that much, but will they take 3rd from, I believe, was it the Salmons? And yes, they do! 55.02. The Stargazers just miss out of the top half meanwhile, but the Wishful Spheroids back on the podium.
That's a great finish for the Wishful Spheroids, getting up there. It's in 3rd place, just losing out to the, quite frankly, monumental pushes of the Blood Moons and the Knights of Night. I still can't believe how close it was at the top. Knights of Night were so confident in their second push, they just didn't even try. And Blood Moons almost made them eat their own words. But wonderful goal for the Knights of Night, and congratulations to Blood Moons and Wishful Spheroids for rounding out the podium.
Yes, you saw down there Team Clarity, another top half for them, so their season is finally getting underway the way they wanted it to. The Deep Divers finally get a small handful of points, even though it might not bring them out at last, but still, a good way to improve.
And look at the overall standings. In 1st place, the Blood Moons have vaulted into 1st place, and the Eggs are sitting in 2nd. Wishful Spheroids, Salmons, and Volcanoes rounding out the top 5 as we get ready for the relay run next. We will see you for that one.